Brett Billmeyer's been named Long Island's G League head coach, and obviously he's been on the Brooklyn staff for the last couple of years. What can you tell us about, Brett as a coach and the experience you've had working with him the last few years?
Yeah, so I've been with Brett the last few years, but I was even with him my rookie year in Cleveland as well. So I've been around Brett for a while, and I've sort of seen him, I guess, ascend to, that front of the bench position to now Long Island coaching. I think he's an excellent, just young coach. I saw how much he helped in development for a lot of the young guys on our team, especially somebody like Jared Allen, who he kind of works specifically with. And I think, he's going to do a really good job in Long Island.
Next up, we'll go to Greg Logan from Newsday.
Hi, Joe. I was just wondering, the other night, you didn't get that many touches, it seemed like. Is it going to be a different situation for you in a lineup with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, or do you think that they'll find a way to involve you a little bit more in the future?
Yeah, I think it's one of these things that it is going to be sort of the ebbs and flow. Obviously, right now, those guys are our focal point offensively. That's how we're going to play our best basketball. That's how we're going to be most productive. And, I think, kind of across the board, a lot of other guys are, going to have to sort of adapt. And, there's going to be some games where you're probably going to get a lot of looks where guys are collapsing on them. Other games, maybe not so much. And that's sort of how it's probably going to be. But at the end of the day, for us to win and have the most success, our offense is going to go through those two guys and then kind of go down from there. But, that's one of those things where, my main assignment as an offensive player is just trying to get space for those guys, getting down to the deep corners, cutting off the ball, making sure that I'm occupying guys on the weak side and allowing them more space to facilitate.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, Joe, this is kind of piggybacking off of Greg's question, but how do you kind of evaluate a game like Washington on Sunday where they didn't have the two best players in preseason, a lot of new moving pieces? Do you take that with a grain of salt, or where do you kind of focus on after coming off a game like that?
Yeah, it's just another – so I mean, obviously it's more exhibition type game, and you kind of look at it as more organized practice, really, where you just get an opportunity to compete against somebody other than yourself, and test the stuff out that we've been working on in practice, the stuff we've been breaking down in film, and just have it against somebody other than ourselves. And we'll do the same thing against Boston. Obviously, it'll probably be a little bit different just because it's such a close timeline to our first actual regular season game. But again, these are just good opportunities to go out and compete against somebody other than your teammates.
Next up, we'll go to Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? Steve said not too long ago that, he's not necessarily married to the idea of Karras as a starter, and then he might end up bringing Karras off the bench and potentially starting Spencer. Can you just talk about the differences between what that starting lineup might look like if you start Spencer in terms of like the flow and the function of the offense, and what it would do for the second unit to have a guy like Karras who's so capable of generating offense to lead them?
Yeah, I think that's where we're really fortunate just to have the depth that we have. You look at our second unit, and a lot of those guys could arguably be starters on a number of teams across this league. And to have somebody, whether it's Karras, whoever it is, coming off of the bench, it's not necessarily – I don't think you should look at it as a negative. In this league right now, you look across the best teams, they all have depth. They all have excellent benches, and you need that, especially once the postseason comes around, once the big games come around. Depth plays an important factor in being an elite team. And so that's where we're trying to get. We want that second unit to not take a dip. When that first unit is rolling, second unit is going to come in and just keep the momentum and the pace going as well.
Any other questions for Joe?
Can I follow up real quick? Just in terms of the adding Spencer to the starting unit, what does he bring that maybe somebody else doesn't?
I mean, Spencer is just such a dynamic player just because of his ability to make shots, facilitate off of the dribble, sort of his length, athleticism. He is just a good, he's a good piece off of somebody like Kyrie in that guard position where you have two just really dynamic ball handlers that, can create for others, but create for themselves pretty easily as well. So if we're getting out in transition and we have either one of those guys bringing the ball, good things are bound to happen.
Steve Lichtenstein with WFAN.
Hi, Joe. Everybody knows how great Kevin is on the offensive end, but can you tell us what it was like having him back there on the defensive end with the 2 blocks, drew a charge?
Yeah, Kevin's length and athleticism, makes him an exceptional defensive player as well. He's able to clean up a lot of stuff just because of that. He's similar sort of body-wise to somebody like J.A., and he's got excellent timing, being able to anticipate a lot of the shots that he did. And then we're fortunate to have him sort of in that guard spot, but he can protect the rim just as well as any big in this league.